In my appeal, I'll write a letter.
Ta-da! Oh.
Who's saying you up ready?
Hey, I'm Tom the Beer Whisperer. How the heck are you? Hey, I'm changing gears a little bit. I've been doing a lot of Imperial IPAs, well, IPAs in general, this weekend. But it is late in the day. It is cold outside, and we are anticipating some snow possibly. So I thought I'd switch gears. I had a couple of these left, so I thought I'd have one. This is the 9.7% 60 IBU Dark Truth Imperial Stout from Boulevard Brewing Company, one of my local breweries. I call Kansas City local. Why not? It's about a 3-hour drive, but I'm going to say it's local enough. And I'm even using my Boulevard glass that I got last year in a gift pack. This is a great Imperial Stout. A great big one. It has a lot of complexity, a lot going on. Let me read just a tad from their website. There's a lot in this thing. Malts and adjuncts are Amber 50, Cara 120, Cara 300, chocolate malt, chocolate rye, flaked oats, golden naked oats, malted rye, pale malt, roasted barley, and wheat malt. The hops are Hallertau, Tradition, Pearl, and Saphir. Okay, so yeah, I mean, you can see by that there is a lot going on in this one. I also have in the fridge the Grand Teton Black Cauldron, which is a good Imperial Stout as well. But by comparison, I'm going to read the ingredients by comparison, so you got an idea what the difference is. It's 8% 43, so it's a little smaller. I'm not going to say 8% small, but it's kind of on the bottom. And for to call something Imperial for me anyway. But listen to this. Here's the malts used: Idaho 2-Row Brewers, Cara Munich, Carafa Special, and Beechwood Smoked. And the hops are Nugget and Cascade. You could tell by that the Boulevard has they're going for a little more complex Imperial Stout, if you will. I mean, a lot more malts going on, bigger hops. There's a lot more going on. Hence, it's 9.760, while the other is 8% 43. There's just more going on there. Which is better? Again, I'm not going to say that because it's going to depend on what you are looking for and what I'm looking for at any moment. Both are great at different times for different reasons. But big dark roasted malt notes.
Now that that's settled, I looked at our partial fingerprint from the soap dispenser. Still not enough to get him out.
I will say with absolute certainty that the Boulevard Dark Truth is more complex. That doesn't mean you make it better. It is bigger in ABV, it is bigger in IBU, but that doesn't make it better either. But it is a more complex Imperial Stout. So it's going to depend on what you're looking for. It's going to depend on your own personal taste buds. I mean, some people don't have the buds, for beers like this. They just don't. I made the analogy to spicy foods upon occasion. I mean, some people eat spicy foods. They eat a jalapeno, or they eat a habanero-based hot sauce, or they eat curries. And all they taste is the spicy. They don't taste the nuances and complexities. I equate that to large beers as well, like this, very complex beers. Some people just don't have the taste buds to decipher all of that. I'm not necessarily saying if you can't handle spicy foods, you can't, because I'm talking about two different things, but I'm talking about the same type of thing. Generally, though, people that do like spicy foods do like larger taste in general. I mean, it's not just spicy foods that they like big, rich, complex dishes. And I think a lot of that translates to beer as well. I think folks that like simpler dishes have more basic taste buds, tend to gravitate more towards the lower end, very light, session, session ales under 5%. I think you have to have a big taste bud to appreciate a beer like this. Because oh goodness, that's good. Because if you don't, I mean, there's a lot of people that are going to take these big beers and say that, well, they're just overly sweet because they cannot decipher all the other things going on. Well, I like these lighter beers because I can taste more. Less, if you don't have the taste buds for it, oh, that's fine. Doesn't mean it's not there.
Yes. NCIS. Is Commander Davis here?
I'm one of those guys that like big, bold, in everything, in all of my foods. So, and again, I do love spicy foods. Curries is a great example. Curries, Thai food, are great examples of varying degrees of hot. Curry doesn't necessarily. Oh, my eyes are killing me tonight. Don't necessarily have to be hot. But you have varying degrees. Thai food is great for that too. And there are people that just they take a bite and all they taste is hot. But I can eat a Thai pepper and discern all the other flavors. And I think the same applies to beers like this as well. I mean, there are people that just aren't going to get it.
Television 20 years in the making. The 20th anniversary of Raw Celebration. Live Monday at 8, only on USA.
And I'm not necessarily knocking those folks that like those lighter in session ales because I enjoy them from time to time. But again, I've heard people complain about these large brews, saying they're too much and they just don't get it. And you can't take it away from the rest of us that do get it, and that's kind of my point. Is not everybody likes lobster, but those that get it think it's great. It's one of those things you got to have the taste buds for it.
Here's something easier. Big full strength mini. The same full dose of Kilo.
If you're more comfortable drinking less complex brews, well, there you go. But there is certainly a place in the craft beer market for big and serious complex brews, and this is one of the more complex imperial stouts on the market because of what I just read earlier. Because there's so much going on in the flavors, there is a lot going on. So if you're drinking it too fast, and I think that's a lot of it. I think a lot of folks that are used to drinking lower ABV beers, 3.5% to 4.5% beers, approach these in absolutely the wrong manner. They tend to drink them too fast, or they make snap judgments after drinking an ounce of it. They drink an ounce rather quickly, or they try to do a beer review on it without letting it sit and really appreciate. You've got to drink a beer like this in a rather slow manner, or you're going to miss. I mean, some people will make silly comments like, well, I can drink it any way I want. There's no rules. Well, of course there's no rules. You can drink it any way you want it. But if you're drinking it in the same manner that you approach a 3.5% session ale, you're missing the nuances. And it's the same approach to where you can't you don't eat a lobster the same way you approach a hamburger. Some people will scarf a hamburger. Well, you don't eat a lobster tail in the same manner. You take a small bite, you dip it in the butter, and you just let it absorb in your palate. You take your time and you go slow. It's the same way with the beer like this. You don't take it and you open it and guzzle it, or you're missing it. I mean, there's a difference between rules. There's no rules, of course, but there is some common sense. You can use some common sense. This is a big, bold brew. So if you want to appreciate everything it has to offer, well, you pop it when your taste buds are receptive to it, and you take your time and drink it in a manner, that you and the beer boat deserve.
More to explore. How cute of it to cater your big game celebration. Now with 4 locations in Springfield with their newest store at 401 South.
So I mean, you get big flavors from this. I mean, you get big bittersweet chocolate notes. You get some coffee notes.
Bad memories.
Oh wow, it's just big, bad, beautiful.
It connects us to everything in our life. So let me show you how in the 5 minutes that we can get you on the road when you need it. Come see us here at Car Country.
This one is interesting too. Imperial stouts tend to finish. A lot of them will finish a little syrupy. One of the standard bearers of the style, the Samuel Smith's Imperial Stout. It's one of those. I wasn't crazy about it for a long time because it does finish rather syrupy. It took me a little bit to really get and appreciate it, but I still. Like a stout that finishes slightly drier, and this one does. It has a slightly drier finish. It is quite frankly a more Americanized version of the style, and again, it's just going to depend on what you're looking for. But personally, I like a slightly drier finish as opposed to a very syrupy, cloying finish. But again, like I said, it's just going to depend on what you're looking for in a beer. There is no doubt in my mind, though, that this is one of the best on the market today. Boulevard is really knocking out some great beers. They've got a solid session line, but for me, it's their smokestack series that makes them rise above many breweries. I mean, they are starting to become known as one of the best. One of the best in the country, possibly even the world, because a lot of their beers are just getting to be that good. This one, for instance, part of their smokestack series, but their Tank 8, their version of a Saison, which is just absolutely beautiful. And then they've got other specialty brews like the Rye on Rye, which is absolutely exquisite. So. Yeah. Okay, so that's all the preacher I'm gonna do. Hey, I am Tom the Beer Whisperer. There you go. Hey, try it if you can. This is without a doubt one of the best Imperial Stouts on the market, so give her a try if you can.